Hello, this is Alexander Sierra with SDI's FTE 217 Modern Sporting Rifle Week 5 assignment, and today's recording date is October 12th, 2024. So first off, we will be performing a functions check on this AR-15, both dry and with dummy cartridges. First off, I'll make sure the mag detach button works. And I've got snap caps in the magazine. We'll be going over that later. First we want to ensure that our surroundings are clear from live ammunition. So I'm going to pull the charging handle back and physically and visually inspect to make sure there's nothing in there. Alright, we're good to go. So, okay, so the firearm, we're going to ensure that it's on safe, and we're going to press the trigger a few times, and we can see that the safety is working. So now we're going to put it on fire from the safety selector, and we're going to compress the trigger, and now we're going to try and put the safety selector back on safe, and you can see that it doesn't work. Alright, so this time we will pull the charging handle back, and now the trigger is cocked again. So this time around I'm gonna press the trigger, but I'm also gonna pull the charging handle. So I'm gonna press the trigger. Now while I'm pressing it, I'm holding the charging handle back and released it. So I'm gonna release the trigger now, and you can hear the click, the disconnector. And let's put it back on safe. That works. So we can ensure that this firearm can pass the dry function check. Alright, so now we want to perform a functions check with dummy cartridges to ensure the extractor functions and whatnot. As a reminder, always make sure the surroundings are clear of live ammunition as well as the firearm. So here we have a couple of snap caps in the magazine. Insert the magazine. It's inserted. We'll go over the safe again. So, safety functions. Here we have it on fire now. I'm going to pull the charging handle back to lower that first snap cap. It should be loaded. We're going to click the trigger, pull the charging handle back, and that launched the first one. It came out of the ejection port. It's going to load the next one. Let's ensure that the forward assist functions. Alright, so we're gonna press the trigger again, and the second snap cap came out, and now the charging handle is left in the rear. So I'm gonna hit the bolt catch button to ensure that the bolt catch functions, and it does. So I'm gonna put the firearm on safe. And that concludes the functions check, both dry and with dummy cartridges. The actual trigger operation felt pretty nice to me. It wasn't too light or too heavy. And things you want to look for, you want to make sure it's not too loose, or it doesn't seem too loose. You want to listen closely for things that sound unnatural, like a grinding sound, for example, and make sure it's just really in place. So yeah, and then with the live fire situation, so basically it'll be less manual use on a functions check with live ammunition, because the gas that comes back through the gas tube will push the bolt back into the buffer spring, and that will compress and push back the bolt into its locked position. And so yeah, it's more of an automatic operation with live ammunition. Alright, so now we're going to want to measure the barrel length of our rifle. So I took off the flash hider because that's a muzzle device, it's detachable. So it technically doesn't count as part of the barrel unless it was fixed. So we're going to take our cleaning rod, and we're going to simply insert it from the muzzle end of the barrel into the barrel, and once it hits the bolt head from the bolt, it'll stop, We're then going to take our pencil and right outside of the muzzle, we're going to mark right where the cleaning rod starts. So now we're going to take our measuring tape and measure that where we marked from the top of the cleaning rod. So that looks like 16 1/4 inches, so 16 1/4, and that's how you get your barrel length. Alright, so now we want to determine the twist rate of our barrel. So I put tape to make a flag on the cleaning rod, and you get your jag and your cleaning patch. I'm going to demonstrate without them because I think mine are too thick and I did not want to force them in, however. So you get your cleaning rod and get your cleaning patch, and you insert it and make sure the flag that we made is at a 12 o'clock position or whatever you want to use, and make sure you're holding the handle part of the cleaning rod itself. And then once you push it further, the patch in the rod should engage the rifling and create a little bit of friction and cause the cleaning rod to, like the cleaning rod itself, to twist. And you would keep pushing that until it twists back to its 12 o'clock position again. And then you take your marker or your pencil and mark, then remove your cleaning rod and get your measuring tape and measure that and whatnot. So that's how you'd find your twist rate. This one I believe has a 8-to-1 twist rate. Alright, so now we want to see, make sure that our headspace passes. So I'm going to first remove the tracking handle, and the bolt itself I removed the ejector. So first we're going to take our no-go gauge and we're going to place it by the extractor on the bolt. There you go. And we're going to send the bolt carrier group down the upper receiver until that no-go gauge resides in the chamber. Alright, so you can see that it is not flush with the upper, so it passes the no-go gauge test. We do want to see and make sure that the go gauge passes though, however. So now I've got the go gauge. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to send the bolt carrier group down the upper and make sure that go gauge sits in the chamber. And now you can see that it's flush. So that means that our headspace test has passed. I almost forgot to mention that you should be able to get a replacement barrel from your manufacturer should the headspace test not pass, in most cases. And or you could try using a different bolt and see if that works. There's a few other methods or workarounds to it. Alright, so lastly, we want to measure our firing pin protrusion, and we can use a field gauge to make sure that we're within the minimum and the maximum. So I'm gonna have these gaps go over it, and we can see that it doesn't pass through the minimum, and then let's check the max. And there's definitely a gap with the max, so it's within the field gauge requirements. So we can get a more precise measurement using this firing pin protrusion gauge, which has a knob on the side that you can loosen or tighten to control this centerpiece. So I'm going to loosen it and then place it on the firing pin, on the bolt head, while pushing the firing pin, and then I'm going to tighten it. And then now it's slightly higher than the rest of the gauge, so I'm going to put that, use my digital caliper to measure that, and we get about 16.61 millimeters, or 0.6540 inches. So we'll take that number and we'll minus what the gauge was when it was flat, and I measured that as 16.30 millimeters, or 0.6420 inches. So we'll take the bigger number minus the smaller one, and I got 0.31 millimeters, or 0.012 inches of a difference. So that would be my firing pin protrusion, or 0.031 centimeters. So that's a good middle in the field gauge. So yeah, this is SDI's FTE 217 Modern Sporting Rifle Week 5 assignment by Alexander Sierra. And take it easy.